Bros and heroes. Gonna tell you about bros and heroes. Gonna tell you about
comic books, costumes,
Facts, boots.
and other stuff.
In this week's issue, the Demon Superman.
Welcome into Bros, Foes, and Heroes. I'm Zach, joined as always by Man Wonder.
Hello.
Mr. Mike.
Hello.
Recovering from all the, is it tryptophan?
Tryptophan, yeah.
Hangovers.
Yeah.
Because I ate.
There's got to be somebody out there allergic to tryptophan, right?
Oh, that poor person.
Yeah, because tryptophan is honestly, it's great. I mean, because eating that turkey and then just sacking out,
there is nothing better. Yeah, then I would love just to eat so much.
Food coma.
Turn football on and just fall asleep within the background.
Yeah.
That, I don't know if it's just once I hit like after 30, but football turned into like the perfect just napping show.
Absolutely.
I used to always wonder, my grandmother on my mom's side, who I love dearly and was a really big video game. I think we've talked about it before. She and I would play Burger Time together all the time.
Yeah.
But she used to watch golf.
Oh,
and it was the
golf.
same thing. And she
Golf
would fall
is
asleep watching
wonderful.
golf.
Yeah.
And I would always be like, why does she watch it? She
It's
always
white
falls
noise.
asleep.
Yeah.
And then, when now I'm like, I totally get it.
I totally get it, man. You turn something on like that. Mine is at this point in my life, it's anytime I sit down. Yeah. I sit down, turn the TV on, I'm done.
The other night, the wife was like, hey, I'm going back to the bedroom. There's some stuff I'm going to work on.
Sure.
And our dogs have like a 9:30 bedtime. It's been, I don't know, we just started arbitrarily at that. And then their body clocks now have done it. So around that time, like they'll get up like and put themselves to bed kind of thing.
Yeah.
So it was about 8:30. And so I was like, all right, I'll just hang out here with the dogs then.
Right.
And so like I'm watching something. One of them hops in my lap, gets comfortable. The other two are laying on the couch next to me. We're just watching TV. And sure enough, just sitting there.
Yeah, sure.
And I'm out.
Yeah.
And I used to never be able to do that. And now it doesn't matter where I sit. In a matter of what feels like just moments, I feel like I can be out.
I can, anytime we turn the TV on, my wife is just used to it at this point. She used to try to wake me up and say, you're missing it or whatever,
I think that's part of the reason why I love how it's made. Might be my favorite TV show of all time.
Oh yeah.
Just because I've always loved like seeing how things are made in general. Like that was my favorite part of the Mr. Rogers show was when he would
when he would visit the Play-Doh factory or whatever. Sure.
I remember the donuts one is what I always remember.
Oh yeah, I do remember the donuts one.
And like even as a kid, like I remember in elementary
Glaze
school.
it, Fred. Glaze it.
Wrong video.
Oh, sorry.
Wrong video. I remember as a elementary student, like even going and like taking a tour of like Shipley's.
Yeah.
And so like them showing us like how they make donuts and stuff like that was really cool. So like I've always loved like how it's made.
Is there anything better than a hot donut?
Oh man.
I mean, is there anything better than a hot
That's tough.
donut?
I have to say yes, just because there's so many things out there.
I don't know, man.
But it is one of the I will agree that it is one of
it's top 10. Maybe top 5, of all time.
The good places.
Yeasty donut.
I don't want to describe it as yeasty, but I get what you mean.
Oh, it's great.
There's a place that
hot
is
yeast infested.
So we have places around here that are more like, I guess I don't want to call them chains.
Stale donut factories.
Yeah, I don't want to call them.
Are,
I mean, I know they're franchises, but like I don't know. Obviously,
I couldn't tell you the last time I had a hot donut.
Really? Well, so there's also little other places that are kind of like franchises in a way of where like they all have similar names. There's like bakery something or donut something. Like they're all but they're all individually owned in a way.
Right.
There was one by where we used to live that I would go to, and if I was lucky enough to get it right out of the oven, their glazed one.
Oh yeah.
It was so buttery and flaky and warm and just can we just do a warm donut
Yeah,
podcast?
let's just talk about donuts.
Mike and I were talking earlier before
Oh,
we started recording
Pick it up by the
about
hole. Yeah.
about how we would just start podcasts just as an excuse for us to be able to do things.
Yeah,
so
no
now I
kidding.
just want to eat
That's right.
warm donuts, so
Yeah.
we should start a podcast about it.
No, I know what you're saying. Daylight Donuts is one of the chains that started out where I live, right?
Yeah.
And I loved Daylight Donuts when it first started. They're okay now.
Yeah.
They've changed hands several times. But when they first started, I remember thinking that they were the greatest place on earth because, A, they had the warm donuts all the time.
Yeah. Is it about their kolaches?
No, the kolaches are good.
They are.
But
For a place like,
yeah, absolutely. I like the Asian donut places a lot.
Mhm.
And the reason I say that is because they generally have a selection that will boggle your freaking mind.
and I love.
I can get a burrito. I can get a donut. I can get a kolache. I can get
That
a
is
ham
why
sandwich.
I love.
Oh my
Well,
god!
and that's the thing. I love the local places more because
Yeah,
it is
absolutely.
more diverse.
Absolutely.
Like obviously, and I think it makes sense. Like the more chain places obviously have a limited menu because they want it to
Yeah.
be the same across the board.
Yeah.
But and that's like I've discovered because the place that was by ours that was local was like that. Like the things they had a kolache made with boudin sausage.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah, you can
fantastic.
get that out the place by me now. It's the donut hole is what it's called.
Yes.
But what I loved about Daylight when they
I
first
forget
started,
we don't live too far away from each other.
yeah,
Man.
when they first started, they were selling T-shirts and stuff that said something like "my warm donut hole" on it or whatever. It was really suggestive, like these shirts, and I just thought, oh my god, this is the greatest place ever.
Oh, that's funny, especially because I've been in there and the couple that runs it, it just doesn't feel like a place that
Not
would be
anymore.
like, yeah.
Not anymore. Yeah.
Oh man.
Yeah. No, the donut hole
Yeah.
right across from the Walmart there.
Yeah.
That's the place. Yeah. They got the boudin. They got the big Earl that
Yeah.
used to be at the other place.
Yeah.
It's not called that anymore.
Well, I think it was Big Earl because it was obviously I think they used the Earl Campbell sauce, which I love. Okay, first
Earl
of all,
Campbell makes a fine sausage.
Thanks,
Earl.
Yeah, he does, and he was such a nice. I got to meet Earl Campbell,
Did you?
which was one of my
Yeah.
greatest sports fandom moments ever.
Yeah.
So,
Did I tell you that Cody Carlson's coming in here next week?
Really?
Yeah.
Former Oiler and Baylor Bear
Yeah.
QB?
Yeah, he was the quarterback of the Oilers, which was my team growing up. When Buddy Ryan took a swing at Kelvin Gilbride on the sideline.
Oh,
he was the starting quarterback for that game.
That team, yeah.
And so I asked him about it when I met him, and he was like, "Yeah, it was my fault." He said I kept throwing interceptions, and so they got pissed off at each other.
That's so funny.
I was like, "Yeah, that's a good story."
No, but so like I met my dad loved Earl Campbell.
Yeah.
And so he
Oh, I
always
did
used
too,
to
man.
always used to talk about
Great
Earl.
guy too.
Oh, and and
a really good
obviously
guy.
had like some drinking problems and stuff to deal with,
Yeah,
but
sure.
was able to bounce back. And physically,
doesn't?
yeah, everybody. I'm just saying, like everybody has obviously demons that they have to deal with.
Absolutely.
But like, and he physically though, the poor guy's so beaten down
Oh.
because of how physical of a
Yeah.
style he had,
a
and
lot
just
of
NFL in general.
arthritis
Yeah.
and things. Yeah.
But so he was one of the first old guys that even as a little kid I loved, even though it was outside my time
Yeah.
frame. And so I kind of always loved and went back and watched and loved Earl Campbell. But
There's just nothing better than watching him run and people just ripping his jersey off as he goes. Remember that Monday night game?
yes,
Yeah.
I think it was Dolphins maybe.
Yeah.
But so
Screw the
we're
Dolphins.
at the Super Bowl and he's there.
Yeah.
And he's not doing too well. Like he's getting
Yeah.
around in a wheelchair.
Yeah.
I don't know if he's still like that.
I
This
think
was
so.
years back. I think he has had surgeries and stuff since then,
Sure.
but still.
He
And
had
we
those
get
leg
close enough.
extensions done, I think.
And my boss at the time was really good, like knew him
Yeah.
and was really good friends with him. So he of course wanted to go over and like do the show because like with him while we were there.
Sure.
Really, and the way they talked was obviously just like good old friends, and it was really
That's
cool to
cool.
see. But the thing that was really great is when he got close enough to our booth where we were,
He smelled like
we had
sausage.
chairs there.
Oh.
No, and he didn't want to sit in his wheelchair. He just wanted to sit in one of the chairs.
Sure.
And so, like, only one of his sons was there with him because the sons go around with him and help him out a lot and
Okay.
help with like the business and stuff too.
Yeah.
And one of his sons was there with him, and he looked at me. He was like, "Do you mind helping me out, son?" And I was like, Not at all.
Yeah, no
And I
kidding,
helped
right?
him up,
Yeah.
and he put his arm around me
Oh, that's
as I
awesome.
help him kind of walk over there and sit down in front of there. And there's just something. This is going to sound like just super corny in a way, but there's just something that was just super, just kind of like, to me,
Yeah,
just
I
full
bet.
circle about that moment.
Absolutely.
So yeah, no, I always love all that about kolaches, obviously.
Sure.
What we were going to get to, and then we'll wrap up the cliffhanger that we had from last week's episode. You're waiting to see why Superman
all I
hated
know
Batman
is that
so
Superman's
much.
a dick at this point. That's all I know. Yeah.
But I absolutely love kolaches, and
Yes.
we don't live too far away from one of the best, if not the best, places to get kolaches. I would say.
Oh, West.
Around in West.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
So if I can't get them there, obviously, which would be choice number one, there's a couple places from
Do you want me to commit a ultimate crime here?
What's that?
And tell you that I like Slavaceks more than anybody else?
No, that's not. See,
really?
It's not an ultimate crime to me because I think there's 3 places there that all do really good stuff.
I love the ground sausage.
I do too.
Oh, my God.
But see, Czech Stop does really good ground sausage, and even Garrett.
Yeah, I know.
So people who are not from here do not understand
you don't
that
get
at
it.
all.
You don't get
But-
it. Kolaches are fantastic.
Oh, they're so great. And there's 3 places in this one town that are all fantastic.
You know what I love about them and this is I love handheld food.
Yes.
Like something that's it's all there. Everything's in this thing.
Yeah.
And I'm just gonna eat this
But
thing.
out of all like those 3 places, I don't think you'll be disappointed at either of them. But that's the point. So like,
but when people say you got to go downtown to get them, rather than get them out on the highway,
you don't have
you're nuts.
to.
No, go to Slavaceks.
But also,
Slavaceks also has one of those things that always confuses me. Any meat market or place like that has the smiling animal that's wanting to be killed.
Yeah.
Like, they just grind up pigs in it.
Did I tell you about
on the sign? It's like, yay.
There's a barbecue truck, our barbecue food truck that I saw the other day that had a human hand choking a chicken.
Oh.
And the chicken says you can't beat our meat.
Oh, that's lovely.
Yeah.
That's not bad.
But so all of them, the Czech Stop's great. If you want to go in more and go to Garrick's, like there's a lot of great places in West, but anywhere in West is fantastic.
Wow.
Ground sausage is the point I was making.
Ground sausage and the cheese.
I love the ground sausage and cheese.
This is so good.
So good.
So while we're on something
cream cheese,
else.
peach. Oh my goodness, sorry.
Cream cheese sucks.
No, dude, is your hatred just cream cheese? Because we went over this a couple weeks ago too.
No,
with
you're
the cream
mixing
cheese
it
and
with the
Rotel.
wrong things. Yeah, you can't mix cream cheese and Rotel.
While we're talking about something else.
We had talked about TV shows earlier.
Yes.
And I forgot to mention that there's a series that started, and I don't know how old it is, but I think it's like a month or 2 old, on YouTube, and it's called A Very Special Episode. It's made by Funny or Die.
Yes.
Right? And all it is them recapping very special episodes of sitcoms.
Oh, yeah?
So like the ones where, like one I watched the other night was the Full House people get stuck in the airport or whatever, and they learn about Christmas, right?
Okay.
And so it's, or a cousin has multiple sclerosis what, it's those kind of episodes, right? Where you tune in to laugh and then you cry or whatever, right? And it's the best thing because this guy he just pile drives through the episodes talking about how stupid they are, but he recaps the whole thing. Oh, it's so good. You need to watch those.
Funny.
Yeah. It has nothing to do with kolaches, has nothing to do with Batman, Superman, whatever.
That's
I'm
fine.
just saying it's my recommendation for this week.
Okay.
A very special episode on
There
YouTube.
we go.
Yeah.
That's
Watch
Mike's
those.
recommendation. Look
They're
forward
very
to.
good.
Speaking of speed racing through stuff, the
Sure.
story, the alternate story. Remember how we had Johnny Quick last week?
Johnny Quick.
We're not spending near as
gross.
much amount of time on this one. Just because it is honestly a story. It is, I will read to you. It is a Green Arrow story it's called The Green Arrow's First Case. This is from Adventure Comics number 256 from January of 1959.
All right.
So at this point, World's Finest was, in our instance here, the continuation and finalization of our previous story.
Yeah.
And then a secondary story in the back.
It's really
And
kind
it's
of
a
smart
reprint.
because
It
they're
is.
reprinting stuff.
It is reprint. So they only have to have the one story and you have a full comic that
Plus,
way.
these kids, in
They don't remember.
69, they
It's,
didn't read
it's
something
10 years.
in
This was
54.
10 years before. This
Yeah.
one's 59. So it's 10 years before.
Yeah.
The one in last week's episode was Johnny Quick was
Yeah.
from 59.
Yeah,
So our
nobody's
54. So
gonna-
that was 15. So it's essentially a story of Green Arrow where we just find out that this Starfish Island has been discovered. And
What?
yeah, this place called Starfish Island.
Oh, Starfish Island.
And they're
I
sending.
thought you were saying a Starfish Island.
No,
and I was like, I
a
don't know
place
what that
called
means.
Starfish Island
Okay,
had been
gotcha. Sure.
discovered. And Oliver's talking to Roy or Speedy and's like, hey, we need to go out
Who
there.
the hell is Oliver and Roy?
Oliver Queen is Green Arrow.
Okay, I didn't know that.
Okay. Oliver Queen is Green Arrow.
I don't like superheroes with arrows.
Roy Harper.
I don't like Hawkeye. And
Then you're
going to
hate this one.
Yeah.
Roy Harper plays his sidekick Speedy.
Speedy?
Speedy.
Perfect.
So we find out essentially the
Does he have the wings on his head?
No, just the
Oh,
Arrow.
see, it kind of looks like the Speedy guy has wings on his head.
Did you watch Arrow?
No.
Not at all. Okay.
No, I don't like arrows.
So it just recaps his. That's fine. It recaps his origin a bit. It just has him where he fell off
Bow hunting.
out in the middle of the ocean, and he yelled for help, and nobody would save him, and he landed on this island, and then he learned to survive. Oliver Queen did, our Green Arrow, and he landed on this island, and he learned to survive. It's a very Robinson Crusoe thing.
Where are your arrows now?
He had to learn. He created arrows, and he wasn't bad with them. Then one day, fishing with arrows,
He shot a fish.
and the fish swam away with it. So he realized, oh, I have to make trick arrows. This is essentially the story of how Green Arrow started making trick arrows.
Okay.
Because he was like, oh, I'm going to make a fish, or I'm going to make a fish. I'm going to make an arrow that can shoot a net at the end then to catch fish instead.
Well, you teach a man to make
And
a
I'll
fish, he
pull
never
it back
goes hungry.
in, and he uses that. Then there's one where he learns to like, oh, I'm going to shoot this one and pull, and it'll spin. And when it shoots, it'll drill into the coconut. And I pull it down, and I can get the milk from
This
it.
dude has a lot of time on his hands.
Right? Well, he's stuck on an island.
Yeah.
So I didn't really, this was so just blah to me.
Yeah.
Some bandits come while he's there, and he uses the trick arrows to defeat him.
I'm not a big fan of Robin Hood or any of that stuff.
Yeah.
I don't know what it is. I think maybe it's the little hat.
So essentially he's rescued there by the cops that show up, and he tells them, yeah, call me Green Arrow. I helped save these guys, or capture these men, yada, yada, yada. Back to present day.
Wait, what did the guys do?
It was some pirates or something that were there on the island to steal stuff.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Sure.
Typical 50s
Stealing coconuts.
pirate stuff. Yeah.
Typical
so-
50s pirate stuff.
Yeah,
Sure.
that's really the end
get
of
it.
that. I mean, that's the whole story is just his first story. It's supposed to be. It's a Green Arrow story, and it's just not good Green Arrow.
And then Speedy is like, oh, thanks, Green Arrow, for telling me your story.
I'm kind of with you on the Robin Hood things not being that great.
Yeah, I just don't like it.
There is some great ads back here.
There are, yeah.
As always in all of these
Look at
books.
the Wolf Man there.
Yeah, that
that's
is
nice.
a monster or size monsters. I guess it's
Monster-sized monsters?
Yeah, there's these like exploding tanks.
Tank trap.
Yeah, a tank trap. It says a tank is a crawling armored skin.
Yeah, it is.
Fire spitting, man-eating monster
Fire spitting.
that preys on any helpless enemy.
Hey, you know what?
But it can be stopped with courage. Hold on. With courage, arid, daring.
Uh-huh. That's how I describe
Courage and daring. I'm blind.
That's how
courage
I describe my ex-wife. Fire spitting.
You're the live bait.
Yeah, I was.
Oh, man.
All right. Tank trap.
So that was it was
She
just
was a
not a
tank.
good backup issue on that. Don't worry,
Yeah, it's Green Arrow.
because the conclusion of our story here in World's Finest, issue number 187, produced in our hitting newsstands in September of 1969,
okay.
will
Wait,
be
this other
well
one was-
worth it.
So these are a month apart.
Month apart.
Okay, gotcha.
So,
Yeah.
we had to hold over.
Boy.
Folks had to sit on the edge of their seats for a month.
Boy, oh boy.
Just like everybody else is going to have to sit on the edge of their seats for a couple more moments as we hear a word from our sponsor.
Oh, my God.
And the wait is over, I guess.
Oh,
Back to us
I held my breath the entire time.
the whole time.
Yeah.
That's
yeah.
actually kind of
I
impressive.
got a little dizzy.
Well, I mean, you didn't pass out, though, so that's good.
I saw little green arrows over my head.
Oh.
Coo, coo, coo. You know, that little,
Yeah.
like the...
They
yeah.
probably somehow spun into a circle and drilled cable holes for you to be able to run cable throughout here or something.
Yeah, that's exactly what
Oh,
happened.
trick arrows.
Did you see it?
Yeah.
Oh, damn.
Well.
Okay, great.
So our next,
I think we've been here too long.
we
at
have
this
been.
point. Yeah.
So world's finest.
I'm gonna tell everybody a secret.
What's that?
We're doing both these episodes in one night. Happy Thanksgiving.
Hey.
Oh wait, I
You
mean
didn't
it's
find
over.
that- you didn't find that out until
Merry Christmas.
essentially, if you break this up into 4 quarters, right?
Yeah.
The first 2 parts of episode 1,
Yeah.
then 2 parts of episode 2.
Yeah.
We didn't let that slide till the very last. That's when
right.
you usually find out surprises anyway.
That's true.
So we were just on point with the great storytelling, is what I'm hearing. here.
Surprise, motherfucker! Oh.
So what we have is
I made a Dexter reference.
nice.
I
love
have
that.
been here too long.
Oh,
Yeah.
I love, what is his name? The angry cop.
Oh my God, he was bald and angry.
That's
all I
that's
know.
one of the
Yeah.
funniest parts of that, though.
Surprise, mother.
Yeah. So this issue was called The Demon Superman. And what we have here is Superman essentially using his heat rays to set ablaze.
So
the
they've gotten
straw,
Batman out of the stockades.
and he's now tied to
They've
a post.
tied him to a post. They put a bunch of hay under him, and now Superman's using his heat vision to
and they're going to light
burn
it on
Batman.
fire. Yep.
Yeah,
And it's all done. So
that's great.
we have a recap here.
Why does Superman have a British flag in
That's
his hand?
remember when I tell you to like to tease what happens in the story.
Yeah. Oh,
So that's
okay,
your
I
little
gotcha.
teaser,
Got it,
right?
got it.
I don't know what's
He's
happening.
fighting for the British.
So here's what happens. This comic makes some leaps. Be prepared.
No shit.
Like it did before. But what happens is
Superman uses his arms real fast, and then everything's over.
we're back to as the grim day or dawns, like, so it's overnight.
Grim Day Dawns.
Dawn's coming. Batman's tied up. Ben Franklin shows up and says, "Good people, you all know me, Ben Franklin.
Hey, it's me, Ben Franklin.
Don't allow this man to be murdered." And he says, "Witches and sorcerers don't exist except in superstitious minds."
You know, there's people in the back of that crowd that are like, oh, God damn it, enough
Here's
with the Ben
Ben.
Franklin. Get out of here, Ben.
And Ben says,
Gee.
"Here's a petition.
Why do you have to announce yourself every time?
Here's the petition containing the names and signers of the Declaration of Independence protesting such barbaric
come on.
punishment. Heed them." That's right. Ben Franklin is saying that everybody who signed the Declaration of Independence has also signed this declaration about, hey, we don't need to burn witches of the state.
Ben Franklin is my least favorite president.
Oh, he wasn't one.
Oh,
So we get the recap of the story as Superman's
why
like,
does he get to be on the $100 bill?
I don't know.
How did that happen?
He probably is the one who pitched it.
Yeah, probably.
So
Damn it, Ben. Just
Superman
shut up.
sees
We'll
this
put
and
you
is
on the
like,
bill.
"That's not good enough, though." And he's like, "Batman is a sorcerer, and I'll prove it, demon. Start your own fire." And while he says that, says start your own fire, he uses his heat vision to go ahead and spark the hay that's underneath Batman, essentially starting the fire.
Wow.
And all
That's great,
of the
Superman. Good
townspeople are then like, "Oh, he started the fire. He must really be a sorcerer after all." Like, what man is going to be like,
Wait,
yeah.
Superman started it.
Well, nobody can see the beams from his eyes,
Oh, okay.
is what it says.
Wait, and so they're thinking,
So the people are,
well, Batman's a witch because he started the fire under his own friggin' feet.
yeah, they were like,
Oh, that's great.
Superman said, "Go ahead and start your own fire." And he did. So he has to be, an evil.
He's a witch. He's a witch sorcerer.
Exactly. It doesn't take a lot to convince these people of much. I'm having to pull this up because I remember that I'm missing a page in this.
Oh, uh-oh.
And
You're a witch.
it's going to explain. No, never mind. I am not missing a page. It is apparently how I have the comic, or how the comic is. How do I
Printed?
put this? Yeah, how the comic is printed.
Oh, okay.
There's a page missing, but I can put together what happened, so don't worry about it.
All right. Thank God. I
yeah.
was worried.
So Batman's burning at the stake. We
Yeah.
get the recap of what happened in the previous issue about
They were
the
both horn
bus.
dogs.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But the girl loved Batman more, so he got
Yeah.
mad, so he's trying to turn him to a witch.
Sure.
So, as we see Batman as
It's like an 80s comedy, like
It is.
Yeah.
as the fire is getting closer to Batman, he's like, "Hey, don't I get at least one last wish?" And the townspeople are like, "True, that's how we usually do things." Like,
Yeah, we give all the witches one last wish.
and so, what is your last wish, Batman?
Cake.
And then the next thing just cuts, and it's him flying through the air.
Superman?
Superman is.
Uh-huh.
And everybody's like,
He's
oh,
flying.
he's flying.
He's flying all
and they're like,
weird.
he's a wizard. And Batman's like, see, who do you think the witch is now? So I don't know what happens between the panels. Superman is laughing maniacally. Just based off context clues here later, I'll present my statement, my findings, which is kind of weird.
Sure.
But what we do see is whatever Batman asked for, the reaction is Superman flying up in the air. And he starts laughing and he's like, get out of my way, guys. He's like, fools, you can't hold me. You'll all be in British military prisons when I'm through with you. And he flies off.
What could have happened?
Right? So we don't know. But we do know that Superman is now wanting to help the Brits. Right? That's very un-Superman-like.
Wow. Well, it's really not, but okay, sure.
So we start the very next page of the story, which is part 2 of this, which is aptly titled Batman, Patriot, Superman, Tory.
Superman what?
Tory, like the Tory party.
I don't know what that is.
T-O-R-Y, like Tories in the British.
Oh, I didn't know.
They're Tories and Patriots, like when they fought. The
I
Tories
didn't know
were the.
that.
Yeah, okay.
Oh. Hey, I learned something.
There you go. So
Bling.
they're all saying, oh, where was this? Hold on. It was weird. So it just says back in Salem.
This is the weird part.
No.
Sure.
So Ben Franklin says, see how close you people came to burning an innocent man. Essentially, when I told you he wasn't.
Dumbasses.
And one of the guys says, nonsense. Is it, Mr. Franklin? True, Batman is not a sorcerer, but what about the stranger whose hair can't be cut? Wouldn't you call that witchcraft?
At this
point, I only have to assume that something happened when trying to cut
give him a haircut.
Superman's hair. And that's
What's
what
your last
cost
wish,
him.
Batman? Give that dude a haircut.
And he was like,
Oh!
and Superman goes, F you guys. I'm going to end up joining the Brits for trying to get his haircut.
Yeah, he hates haircuts.
Oh,
if
it
there's
made no
one thing I
sense.
know about Superman, it's he hates haircuts.
So what we find out is Superman does.
I just like the fact that Ben Franklin is now calling him Batman.
He is.
That's not a problem.
He is.
He's just like,
No.
listen to Batman.
So I'd like to remember what
The batted man.
Let's not forget what started this trip back in the last issue.
The bus.
To saying was the bus that looks like Batman.
Yeah.
That they went back in time to see why.
Sure.
Now Batman's
we
been
know.
tried as a witch. We don't know why the bus looks like it.
Oh, okay. I figured somebody just liked him.
No. Well, just wait. It's better
I got
than
this
that.
marble.
It's better than that.
Okay.
So Superman flies to where the British camp is and notice that they are digging trenches. Some of the soldiers shoot at them and Superman's like, ha, those idiots, they don't know these bullets don't hurt me. Lands in front of them, digs the whole trench for him in seconds.
Yeah.
That they're there and they're like, wow, this guy did a days of work for us so
Did
quick.
it with his teeth.
And he was like, let me see. That's true. Let me see your general. So they take him to the general.
Let me see your what?
General.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah, sorry.
I misheard you.
Not genital. And so just one. And so
Just the one genital, please.
And so he asks the general, the British general, Superman does, what do you need?
Yeah.
We then cut to where Sylvia, who's the witch who's not a witch, that loves
woman.
Batman,
Oh,
who got Batman in trouble with Superman, she leads him to actually where Mad Anthony Wayne is camping
Maul.
out.
yeah.
Why do you call him that?
He's Mad Anthony Wayne.
Mad
Maul.
Maul.
Yeah.
Okay.
He's Maul.
It took me 2 episodes to figure it
Yeah,
out.
I get that. Sure.
So, to show him there, and he's like, "Oh, we look alike. Are we related?
Yeah.
What is your last name, Wayne?" And Bruce just was like, "Oh, just call me Batman."
Anytime I see somebody who looks remotely like me, I go up to them and I say, "Hey,
Are
are we related?"
Yeah.
Especially
but
when I go back in time.
we find out that the British general, General Haley, whatever his name is,
Haley.
has sent Superman to go get Mad Anthony Wayne.
Uh-huh.
And so he hunts him down and he just takes the whole cabin that Anthony Wayne, Batman, and Sylvia are in to where the British troops are.
He just picks up the whole cabin.
Mm-hmm.
They're just bouncing around in it. He flies it over there and dumps it in front of the Brits.
But while he's flying away,
yeah.
Anthony Wayne's bugler, Robbie Douglas, finds them and is following after him to tell them to see where he's taking him.
Don't you wish you had a bugler?
Named Robbie Davis.
Not just a bugler. I don't care what his name is.
Robbie.
I just want to go bugler, and he goes.
So essentially, Superman
Doesn't even have a horn. He just does that.
Oh, he just makes with his nose. Superman drops Anthony Wayne in front of the British general.
Okay.
And he smacks him around a bit, and Anthony is refusing to talk, to tell him like where his men are hiding and stuff like that. Yeah. So instead, Superman says, or the general says, put him in front of the firing squad. Either you talk or we'll kill you.
Yeah.
And at this time, to save him,
cut his hair.
Our Superman's like, let me go ahead and lead your firing squad then.
Oh.
Ready, aim, and Superman's about to fire on Anthony Wayne when Batman comes out and he's like, no, you have the wrong guy. Yeah. I'm the real Anthony Wayne. And the general's like, oh, which one is it? I can't tell. And Superman goes, just shoot them both.
It's like that Spider-Man meme.
It is.
Where they're,
But instead of just like, oh, which one's Superman just goes, shoot them both.
Yeah, of course.
So like he's actually kind of like smart in this.
Yeah. Superman's a dick.
And so they both line side by side, and he tells him, ready, aim, and he goes, wait, I have a better idea. This is Superman talking about Bruce Wayne, Batman, and his 200-year-old ancestor, Anthony Wayne, that they have there. And he goes, wait, I have a better idea. Let them fight each other to the death with their bare hands, and the winner gets to live for a while anyway.
Jeez.
I like to make it more maniacal.
Let's start a new podcast called Superman's a Jackhole. And just that's all we talk about is how bad Superman is.
So, yes, Mad Anthony fights Bruce. And Bruce is like, I'm just going to be on the defensive. My karate and judo skills are far superb for this idiot.
Shut up.
So he's not going to know what to do. But then all of a sudden, Mad Anthony judo chops him, karate chops him in the stomach, and judo throws him. And he's kind of taken off guard. And then all of a sudden,
so Mad Anthony has the judo skills too.
He does.
Oh yeah.
But Robbie Douglas shows up,
even though they don't even know that Asia exists.
No,
at this point,
that's true.
Sure.
But Robbie Douglas, the bugler, shows up with the rest of Anthony Wayne's men. And while he's there, they're like, Superman's the bad guy. Here, take this rock and throw and like use your slingshot, because he had a slingshot he used to hit Superman. Very David and Goliath, and they bring that up. Also, while it's there, Batman says, Robbie, because you want to tie that in there too. Take the pebble from this compartment in my utility belt. You've a slingshot, hit Superman in the forehead. He's our real enemy. We find out that Batman always carries a kryptonite pebble in his belt.
Sure, apparently. He does, yeah.
So Robbie puts in a slingshot. That would have solved
this whole effing thing.
This kryptonite pebble?
Just pull the kryptonite pebble out and go, listen, buddy, quit it.
That's what's happening right now. So Robbie pulls out the kryptonite pebble, puts it in a slingshot, and it says, undaunted, Robin's double faces the mocking Man of Steel. Superman is looking at this kid with a slingshot and says, so you want to play David to my Goliath, eh? Ha ha ha. And he laughs at him. Dude, Superman is maniacal in kind of the coolest way.
Yeah.
Like, just, you didn't have to make a Homelander version of it. You just had to pull Silver Age Superman.
Yeah.
And so Superman says,
but I'm really disappointed in Batman. I'm really disappointed in him. He was going to be burnt at the freaking stake.
And he didn't use.
And he's oh shit, I got this kryptonite in my belt.
Some great detective, right? And so Superman uses like his wind to like blow Robbie back. And he's like, this fight will have a different ending than the one in the Bible, thanks to my super breath. And he just blows him out of the way.
Okay.
And then he looks at him and he laughs and he goes, you think to fell me with a mere pebble, and laughs at him again.
Yeah.
They're very lean and heavy into the David and Goliath thing in just 3 panels. Well, Robbie shoots him. Sure enough, hits him right in the forehead. And Superman's kind of woozy, and he kind of comes back through. And then all of a sudden, all the British soldiers retreat. You ready for the bow tie to end this whole story, Mike?
Yeah, buddy.
So as the British soldiers are retreating, it says, over the enemy artillery, Superman whirls like a human tornado. And he twists their weapons inside out, because Superman has come through. He's no longer acting evil, working with the Brits.
Sure.
So, or Batman's like, hey, you want to take them all out? He's like, yeah, sure I do. All because of this kryptonite rock to his forehead. So we find out he's like Superman.
It's like getting kicked in the head with a mule, right? And your cross-eyes get
it is
okay now.
But you see, so this is 2 issues worth of story, right?
Yeah, sure.
This story is summed up in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 panels.
Yeah.
All 2 issues. You ready for this?
Got it.
So Batman says, Superman, why did you frame me on those sorcery charges?
Yeah.
Very valid question.
Yeah, it is.
Superman says, it all started when we first met Mad Anthony guarding a British spy. I would also like pointed out that I have not hid anything from you of any detail that was given to us in a previous issue, okay?
Yeah.
Suddenly, I noticed Wayne casts no shadow. That must mean he's possessed by an Ifrit, an evil spirit. It probably fled to him from the condemned prisoner's body to escape his hanging. So when they landed back in time, yeah, this is going to take a bit. Just hold on. There was an evil spirit that was in Mad Anthony's body when they came back in time.
Confusion. It's not.
Oh, well, just it's going to get more confusing.
Okay. All right.
So he goes, when the wagon departed, and it shows Superman, Batman has no shadow. The Ifrit is in his body now. The only way to scare it out is to endanger Batman's life. Then we see Batman tied up to the post. And it says, after I framed you on those sorcery charges, you were never in any peril. I would have rescued you in time. And then it has his thoughts while he's watching Batman burn at the stake. My plan's successful. Batman's casting a shadow again. The Ifrit was scared out of his body because it thought I really intended to burn him. But where did it go?
What?
Right? So this Ifrit, this evil spirit's just playing like body jumping with everybody.
Okay.
And then where did it go? Batman comes in to help you answer that. The Ifrit fled into a place you hadn't figured, Superman, your own body.
Wah.
I realized that when your shadow disappeared. So for everybody to freaking know this, when your shadow disappeared, that's why you turned against us. But I stopped you with your one weakness, kryptonite. First of all, Batman, you didn't do diddly do. Robbie used the slingshot and hit him.
Robbie Robin.
You caught a karate chop to the chest and a judo throw from a man 200 years in the past, and then had a kid take out Superman because you couldn't. But yeah, take all the credit you
had
want
the green
to.
rock.
Exactly. Yeah. And he says, and the pain drove the Ifrit into General Hindley, who's the British general. The Ifrit must have temporarily left me to return to Mad Anthony's body when he fought you. That's why he was able to clobber you so easily. Then that explains everything except the reason why we came back here in the first place.
This is making me angry.
Right?
Like this literally is making me angry.
So they're Ifrit, it's all the Ifrit. And they're like, that only brings us back to why we came here in the first place. And then we get to...
No, you came there just because it was a bust of Batman, and you were like, oh, what the hell's that?
Yeah,
let's go back in time.
That's what brings us here in the first place. And Sylvia's picking up this thing from the mud, and she goes, I know you must leave, Batman, so I'm going to make a cast of this impression of your face, made when General Wayne threw you into the muddy ground during your fight. I'll keep it with me always as a remembrance of you. Later, as teammates burst through time, obviously Sylvia made the bust of me. I'll bet one of her descendants donated it to the Gotham City Museum. And Superman says, but the real scoop is that both you and Robin have doubles in the Revolutionary period. I wonder though, was Robbie Douglas an ancestor for Dick Grayson Robin ? That's the end of the world's finest.
That is 187. That is ridiculous.
Oh,
because they wrote this whole story and they go, oh, shit, how do we get out of this?
An Ifrit.
Oh, how about a demon? Okay, great. What's a fancy word for a demon? A fret. Fantastic.
Boom. Done.
Wow. That was really badly done at the end there.
Yeah.
I mean, like.
Really badly done.
Wow.
So there you go. That is the conclusion. But I will tell you, and I know I talked about this last episode when we were talking about just this kind of Silver Age Batman and Superman in general. I love the wackiness because it doesn't take itself too seriously, and it's just funny. And I mean, like, I have to, just with the other things I do, like, there's going to be a lot of ridiculousness in there. And with characters that have been written and have had stories told about them for 80 plus years.
Yeah, sure.
Like, you're going to have stories like this, but it's just so funny to me. Like, that's the thing. Like, it's entertaining because it's funny.
It was funny up until the end there. And then you're like, oh, shit, we're out of pages. Let's wrap this sucker up. That's true.
And that made no sense.
It just feels like the writers.
It's a very cheap ending.
Yeah, it really is.
But I love how they're like, we'll just explain it all as the and I love how everything was like, then it didn't have a shadow. And then that thing didn't have a shadow.
Yeah.
And then that other thing didn't have a shadow.
Yeah.
Not to say, I mean, like, again, I love the art from this time too. It's like the more blue and gray Batman suit, which I like. And it's very vibrant red and blue Superman suit. And so the art in it looks great. And it's fun stories. But
why didn't you say something to Batman after it jumped out of his body? You wait until the very end. You make a super tornado, and then you're like, oh, yeah, it's because we were fighting demons the whole time, dumbass. Yeah.
But here's what I don't find that's funny. I don't understand is because also then Batman knows, obviously, that there wasn't a threat there at some point in time because he says, oh, I noticed it at this point.
Yeah.
But yet at the very beginning, he's like, hey, why did you turn on me then?
Yeah.
Could he have not have thought, oh, if there was a threat there at some point in time, maybe that was.
Yeah.
So then why not use the kryptonite earlier?
The other thing is, had they not gone back in time, how do you explain the bust?
Yeah.
You know?
It wouldn't
have existed.
Oh.
Right? Because he had to fall in the freaking mud for it to even exist. They had to save the girl from the drowning before it would exist.
Is super confusing. Then
you see what I'm saying?
That means they had... Okay, so by the time they tell this story, it had already happened.
Yes.
Like, they had already happened once, and they went back a second time.
Exactly. Right.
Which makes it even more confusing.
It's super confusing. That's so cheap.
That's why you never mess with time travel, because there's so many things you have to think about.
Wow.
All right.
I'm glad they reset the DC universe.
Well, there you go. That is
crazy.
the conclusion. World's Finest, number 187.
Hey, you did a great
September.
job, though,
well, thank you.
By the way, yeah, it's good stuff. I couldn't have kept a straight face during this thing.
I appreciate it. As always, we appreciate you guys taking the time out to listen. Find us on Instagram, Bro Foe Hero, Twitter, Bros, Foes, and Heroes. Also, feel free to email us at brosfoesandheroes@gmail.com. Also, we are part of a fantastic family of podcasts over at roguemedianetwork.com.
roguemedianetwork.com.
Make sure to go over and check out some of the great content that is there as well. Tons and tons of great stuff for whatever you're looking into.
Yeah, whatever.
Yeah. I know we've had Rusty on before from which is an absolute great podcast. I was talking to Allison earlier today from Poultry Gals.
Yeah.
So lots of just absolutely fantastic podcasts there in the family that I think would benefit you to go check out there. So
they are all my seed. Like that? That's a good way to end.
I do look at them as podcast brothers and sisters, but now for a completely different way now after that.
Yeah.
All right. I don't know what else to say there
while.
instead of until next time, stay safe, everybody.
Merry Thanksmas, everyone. Golly God.
Bros and heroes. Gonna tell you about pros and heroes. Gonna tell you about.
This has been a Rogue Media podcast.